Welcome in, everybody. We are doing a human design analysis for xQc. This wasn't requested from xQc himself, but as dubbed per the tier list, he is #1 streamer. Why not take a look at him? What is human design? It really allows you to understand how to live life correctly as you, and when you're making decisions correctly as you, then you're automatically allowing your purpose to flow through you. So if you are saying your yes and no, which this system teaches you how to correctly for you and you only, then you are going to allow your purpose to flow through you, and your purpose is your incarnation cross. Now, we're not going to be talking about your purpose today. What we're going to be talking about today is a few different things. Part 1, we're going to be talking about what it is to be a generator. That means, how do you say your yes and no? And part 2 is going to be all the brain candy afterwards. The longer you listen, the juicier it gets, because I have to build this up. Your strategy and authority. What does strategy and authority mean? Well, that means that that's your choice mechanism. This is how you make decisions in life. Strategy and authority doesn't matter if we're talking to xQc or if we're talking to anybody else who's watching this. Strategy and authority equals how do you make your particular choice. It's always a two-part mechanism. And everybody's is different based on the structural makeup here. So we said that we're going to talk about how do you say your yes and no. Once again, what's the purpose of you saying your yes and no? Every time you have a chance to make a choice or respond to something, and your body says maybe and you follow that no, you don't do it, then you are allowing your purpose to flow through you. Once again, your purpose is your incarnation cross. Let's just say that your body said but you do it anyways. Well, that's taking you away from your purpose, and ultimately you will see frustration. Because you're a generator, you have this vortex-like energy pulling people, places, and things towards you in life. And because you are a generator, having all of these people, places, things coming towards you in life, this is where your strategy and authority comes in. There's nothing you need to do to overthink what you have to do. Life is going to come at you. You don't have to force life from your brain. So what does that mean? You are waiting for life to come at you. So your strategy and authority is waiting to respond. You're waiting for things to come to you. Life. People, places, things, and experiences. And then you're going to take a moment and respond to it. Well, what does that even mean? Waiting to respond. Throughout our life, we are conditioned to be something that we're not. We are conditioned to go to school, and our busy bodies are forced to sit down. We are then set off into society, and there's at least a TOS of life, and as a mega streamer, you do have some TOS that you have to adhere to in order to continue streaming. So you have been changed, I have been changed, everybody has been changed throughout life, and that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting to break up the conditioning that we've been taught throughout our whole life. We're waiting to see what comes to us, and not working from the head, forcing what we think should happen in life. I'm not saying that you should disengage with life. Of course, you're allowed to go out and do whatever you please. But upon going out, what happens? What does your body say? Does it respond to continue doing it? Or should you leave? So we'll speak about that in just a moment, but I still want to talk about waiting to respond. to respond. Waiting to respond. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for the conditioning that we're usually used to acting on in a particular situation. We're breaking that up because society deemed it correct for us to do that. Or we've taught ourselves to do that because we thought it was all right. What are we also waiting for? We're also waiting for life to come at us, because being a generator, you have this vortex life energy that's just going to present opportunities towards you in life. So waiting to respond is half of your choice mechanism. Just stop doing all that crap that you're used to acting on in the moment that you've been taught. What does your energy actually say? And this is actually where we're going on into the next piece of how do you, xQc, say your yes and no. So you've waited, you broke up the conditioning of what you're used to doing. Now, what needs to happen next? How do you get your yes and no, particularly for you? Well, this is where this red square, second from the bottom, comes in. This is called your sacral. And this has this juicy life force energy. This is where that generator aura comes from, pulling all of those things towards you in life. What does your sacral sound like? I've actually heard you with your sacral, whether you are aware of it or not, but a sacral sounds like uh-huh or uh-uh. If a person doesn't know something, then the answer is I don't know, or the answer could be So that's what a sacral sounds like. Or it could sound like the guttural sounds of a baby. When a baby is very authentic with what they like, they're like, ooh, ah. When they don't like something, they're like, eh. But maybe your body doesn't do that. Maybe when you don't like something and you're offered it, you're just like, ugh. Your body falls in on itself. Or maybe when you are presented with something and it's proper for you, you sit up more tall, and that's maybe an indication of what's correct for you. So there's several different ways that this sacral makes its indications towards you, and you are very connected to the energy of this sacral. You are a person who is here to have people, places, things in life pulled towards you because of this sacral. Once again, when you're saying uh-huh and you follow that uh-huh, you're allowing your purpose to flow through you. That's your incarnation cross. An incarnation cross, a purpose reading, is a full different reading, 2 hours. Let's just say your body said, to a decision. Well, that's actually no. And that's good. Okay, don't say no until you know the answer is yes for sure. Because your body will tell you if you have enough energy to partake or not. So let's just say that your body said, uh-huh. And you're like, I'm kind of scared and nervous. I'm not going to do it. Oh, that was the cutest meow ever. Let's just say your body said, uh-huh. And you were scared. You decided not to do it. That's going against your purpose in life. And once again, I want to bring your eye to the phrase, not self, theme of frustration. When you're making decisions that aren't correct for you in life, you will see frustration. When you are making correct decisions for yourself in life, then you are allowing your purpose to flow through you. So we've talked about all of the words over on the right, pretty much. And there's still an image in this center. It's pretty juicy information. And for the juicer himself, I encourage you to keep on listening. We haven't really gone over anything except for how to say your yes and no. So we are actually complete this part 1. How do you say your yes and no, xQc? Uh-huh or uh-uh? Uh-uh. Sometimes I see you playing your games and, for example, balloons, and you're like, what do I gotta do now? So, I feel like that's a response in the moment. And you're saying like, that's you responding, I gotta do something. What do I do? Okay. We've ran over how you say your yes and no. These guttural sounds. Ooh, maybe a folding in of your body or like a reaching towards something. We said that we're going to get to the juicier stuff, and that's where we're going to go to now. I just want to say that I don't have your exact time of birth. Just this was found on the interwebs, your birthday. I picked 10 o'clock at night. That is mainly because it brought consistency into the chart. I would really like to do a proper reading for you because there's a lot of things that change throughout the day. So if you would like to have your proper reading done, whether it would be like this on the YouTubes or privately, I would love to do that for you. Okay. The juicier things in this chart. I know there's a lot of flack that xQc gets for the things that he does. Has he responded to doing them? Or I know that there's been a lot of sponsorships offered to him, I'm sure. Or What do you do to make those decisions, those correct decisions for you? Those are some pretty big decisions. Oh. We've been talking about how xQc, how do you say your yes and no? Those guttural sounds. Now we're going to move on to the juicy information for the juicer. Firstly, what do we have in front of you? This is human design. This is a body graph. I want you to notice on the right side of the chart, there's the word personality at the top with a bunch of black numbers going down. This is a list of characteristics that describe who you are. You are conscious to them. They were captured at the moment of your birth. Over here on the left side, you can see a list of red numbers, the word design. This is a list of characteristics that also does define you. And these were captured about 88 days before you were born. Now they are unconscious to you, so you might not be so aware of them. But the thing is that you can find these numbers directly in your chart. Let's see. The black color flows over to here. The black color flows over to here, etc. So that's how they make their way down into the chart. And if by chance 2 colors make a full line, that's called a channel, and the channel creates definition. Now we'll see a bunch of geometrical shapes here. Those geometrical shapes are called centers, and that's what we're pretty much going to focus on, these geometrical shapes. You'll notice that there are geometrical shapes, centers, that are colored in, and some that are not colored in. The colored in ones are called defined or definition, and this is who you are, and this is what you put out into the world. It's consistent, you can rely on it. Now, the white stuff, the white centers in your chart, this isn't you. It's kind of like an open window allowing bugs and birds to get in and stuff that you don't want in. It's unreliable, it's inconsistent, it's not who you are. So it's not what you put out into the world. Undefined or opened is what this is called. We're going to focus first on who you are. I want to stop and say that if you're born in the morning, this changes. If you're born in the afternoon, this changes. If you're born in the evening, this is what it looks like. So it really does matter when you're born. Yours changes a lot during the run of the day. But we're going to talk about what we see here. Whatever is the most consistent throughout the whole 3 charts that we did. And that is these 2 lines that exist here, these 2 channels. That's what we're going to talk about. But firstly, we're going to talk about the centers. This center here, once again, this is a sacral center. Got this juicy life force energy that's pulling people, places, and life towards you. Experiences. As you can see, it is attached with that channel down to the brown square at the bottom. The brown square at the bottom is called the root center. The root center is about understanding when correct timing is for you. The proper pressure, proper adrenaline to get things done. Now up here at the very top, you'll see that there's another brown square. This is the throat center, and it's about transformation, metamorphosis, manifestation. And you have the Ajna. And this is all about, you have a fixed way of thinking, conceptualizing, and putting things out into the world. All right, so before we even get those little channels involved, just because they're little doesn't mean that they're not impactful. How does that line up together? Well, xQc, you are a person who is here to respond to the correct timing in life. You have this juicy life force energy for what is meant to be metamorphosized from your head. All right, let's go deeper. We've been talking about how these channels connect your definition. What is this channel, the 60 to the 3? This is the channel of mutation, where energy fluctuates and initiates. It's in a pulse. What does that even mean? Well, you are a person who does understand what is to be mutated, or what will be mutated, or it just happens around you. We were saying that these red lines here are made up from these red numbers over here, so it's unconscious. So you might not be aware that you are mutating things, mutating environments, just by being you. You're a person who will have this feeling of off, 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 and then you're on. Off, 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 and then you're on. That's how your mutation works. So it initiates, it fluctuates, it's a pulse, this type of energy. So once again, I said that you might not recognize this about yourself. But people who spend a lot of time with you might recognize that for you. You are a person who just mutates. Mutates what? Whatever you respond to. Yeah, people around you who hang out with you might be like, whoa, there's a lot of different firsts happening around you. And you're like, okay, yeah, well, this is just me. This is my life. This is what happens. You're a person who can just sit down and concentrate, and you understand the details of being able to just sit still and be able to commit something. All right. Let us talk about this up here, this channel. It's the channel of structuring, a design of individuality, genius to freak. or freak to genius. This here is all about structuring or not being able to structure something. There's going to be a moment in which you have that aha moment. So you're going to break it down, assimilate it, put it back together, break it down, put it back together, assimilate it, and then you might externalize it or change it into a metamorphosis of some way. That's you. You might actually resonate with this a lot, is that you are the freak. I'm a freak. People might think you're odd until they find you that you're a genius and you're just here doing your own thing. The thing is that these two channels are individual channels. And they're all about thyself. And when you are doing thyself, caught up in what you're doing, it's actually very inspirational for others, for the tribe and for the collective. So just keep on being you. I want to go back to the 4323 though, because it is very aware to you that this is a part of who you are. A person who can structure things, a freak to a genius, a person who's an individual. You're probably going to try to force and control this aspect of who you are because you really resonate with it. But all you're here to do is wait to respond to life. Have life comes towards you. Let's synthesize this together. Okay. xQc, you are a person who is here to respond to life, or towards what comes towards you, because that is when whatever you choose to do or choose not to do, that's when a mutation will happen, because the correct timing will be had, because you do know how to focus and concentrate and have the proper details for what's going to bring you in the proper direction. You are a person who does understand how to assimilate and structure things that in which is to be mutated. And you're probably going to control that aspect of you, but it's not for you to control. You're here to respond to what it is that you are going to structure. I do want to speak about those two channels still, though. These two channels are individual. And when they're individual channels, that means that they have the chance for melancholy. It's highly likely that you're going to feel melancholic, since that's a part of who you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just to be aware of it. Melancholy feels like emptiness. It feels like boredness to the point where it hurts your bones. Melancholy feels like just ugh. But there's nothing that you need to do about it. You don't need to control it, that feeling. It comes and goes. And the way that you might experience this melancholic saying is, why would I even bother trying to structure this thing? It's never going to happen. Why would I even bother being recognized as a freak or a genius? It's never going to happen. Why would I even bother having this new knowing? It's never going to come. Shame, same shit, different day. And this same shit, different day one can actually be very deep emotionally. If you ever feel that, a hit of depression, make sure you go speak to your doctors about it. Same shit, different day. That can be quite tough. Why bother, you know? So make sure you go talk to your doctor about that if anybody's feeling that way with that particular channel. But the thing is, though, xQc, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your makeup or who you are or what you need to do about this, as I said. When you're feeling this melancholic experience, this blandness, this boredness, this emptiness, it's actually the beginning of something very creative. So just allow yourself to have this creative thing naturally bloom. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. You will be able to move through this blandness, and there will be this great mutation, this great structuring at the end of it. So allow yourself to be. It can be kind of tough, but just allow yourself to respond and throughout the whole experience. And just know that when you come out of that, then at least you know that you made the correct decisions for yourself. I know a lot of people give you flack about some of the streams that you do, but is that correct for you to do? Are you feeling that blandness? Is there something that you're not doing for yourself, xQc? Are you frustrated? Have you made some decisions that now need to be changed? Frustration is the key indicator, once again, that I was telling you that something needs to change. Because you're not doing something correctly for you. When you're frustrated in life, it's just an indicator that, once again, something needs to change. Maybe you entered into the contract incorrectly and you're frustrated. Maybe you did enter the contract correctly and now the contract is done, or the contract needs different stipulations at this point to make you not frustrated anymore. What needs to happen? Well, at that point, that's when you start maneuvering through the situation using your and to allow things to properly move through you. One more thing that I do want to mention about this particular makeup before we go on to the white stuff in your chart. Because it would actually take more than 2 gates or 2 gates or more, so here to here, or here to here, here to here, to actually connect these 2 sets of energy together. We can see it's a split definition. It means that your definition is split apart and it's not connected together in one full line. So you might blame the world for stuff that happens to you. It's not my fault, it's the world. All right. Let us move to the other part of who you are, and that's the not self of who you are. Because everything that we just said was consistent, and that is you and what you put out into the world. Let's begin with the one at the top of the head. This is called the head center. And this is where, if you're acting not who you are, if you're making decisions incorrectly, you are going to be trying to be inspirational. You're going to try to have this new knowing, or you're going to try to be inspired. You might find yourself answering everybody else's questions. So, if you are not being you, and if you're trying to go around initiating what you think you should be doing with life, you're going to see frustration, and this is where one of it's going to come from. A little bit of it's going to come from frustrated with these initiations that you make here. So what do I mean initiating? Initiating means that you have these attachments to the outcome, attachments to the goal. It must have a 1, 2, 3 process, and the outcome's going to look like this. That's you initiating with your mind, and I've been telling you, no, that's not how you do things. Plans aren't how this works. You respond to life. I'm not saying, once again, you don't disengage with life. You're allowed to go out and go to the fair and not sit on your bum. All right, we're going to talk about your G center next. This is about love, identity, and direction in life, connections, and If you're trying to initiate or trying to act on what you think you should be doing, in this center, the not self-expression is you feel like you need to find a direction, you feel like you need to find a certain way to love, or you need to find certain connections or your identity. But the only way that you're going to find those things is by responding to life. This is not self aspect of it, is trying to find out who you are. The only way you're going to do it is by letting life come towards you and you discover that direction in which you are going, and discover who you are instead of trying to force what people think you should be. All right, just because this is white or undefined, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Remember, the way that you can get true direction, identity, and connections in life is by responding. I think having this particular one open or undefined is quite beautiful, because if you enter into a place and you're like, nope, then this here is telling you that you're not going to be having the correct experiences or with the correct people or having the correct opportunities. So listen to that. This is your gift, in my opinion. In combination with this is always going to give you the proper direction in life. Maybe the place across the street is going to be better for you, and you're like, yeah. And then that's where you're going to have the better opportunities, experiences in life. This is really here to guide you. If you say, and when you enter into a place, or you like keep on moving into it with excitement, that's good for you. Good opportunities there. But if you walk in, you're like, oh, no, get out. All right, the next one that's up here is this big white triangle on the right. This is called the solar plexus, and this is where you may find yourself not trying to rock the boat in your not self-expression. This is where you might become a yes man just so that others don't have their feelings hurt. Is that a great haircut? Or do you like my haircut? And you're like, yeah, so great. So this is where those little white lies might come out just so that you can like protect other people's feelings, or telling too many truths to people when it might get you in trouble. I have this white or open, and this is where I've created a mask, because when I was bullied, people weren't making fun of me, they were making fun of the mask, and they weren't hurting me, they were hurting the mask. So that's a not self-expression as well. So I avoid women-based parties like baby showers and wedding showers, because they ask stupid questions like, when are you going to have a baby and when are you getting married? Those questions don't matter to me, and I don't want to be rude and say F off. So I just drop off a present and I run. So once again, how do you know what's the proper truth to be told or what's to be said? Well, you say your or Let us move to this particular center to the very far right or left. The white triangle, this is called your spleen. When you're acting not self, you're holding on to things that are not good for you anymore. People, places, things, or experiences. Or when you're acting not self, you could see yourself throwing away things that are a good support system, because you're like, yo, I got this by myself. I don't need anybody. But those are not self. Everybody needs support. How do you respond? How do you get rid of the crappy stuff in life? You say your If you don't know if you need to get rid of it yet, then the answer will be like, I don't know. I purposely saved this tiny little triangle for the last. Even though it's the tiniest, it's, in my opinion, the most hard hitting. I got so frustrated because my computer system kept on fucking up, and I responded because I'm a generator, because I got so frustrated that something needed to change. So I went to the basic program that I got free off the interwebs, and it's in our Discord. So here's your chart again, but in a different view. It looks the exact same way. We were looking at your heart center, and we were talking about how this heart center has a very big impact on your whole chart. This heart center is not about love. It's about willfulness. It's about commitment. And just because you have that undefined, it doesn't mean that you can't commit to something or that you can't be willful with something. You can. It's just that you need to make sure that you have the correct energy to do it. I got the energy for it. I'm not going to do it. Making a decision when you're beside someone, like next to someone, is not a good idea, because you might walk away and say, oh my God, why did I just commit to that? It's because you probably felt the juiciness of that other person's energy, and when you left their energy, you kind of lost the connections up to your commitment energy, and you're like, oh my God, why did I just commit to that? And it is then for you to decide if you're going to be not self and continue with the commitment that you don't want to do or don't have the energy for, or if you're going to respond to telling them no. What are you going to do at that point? So this particular heart center, willfulness, when you're in your not self here, you feel like you have to prove. Prove what? Maybe prove that you can go harder, better, faster, stronger without even being asked to do so. Maybe you might feel like you have to prove you're in control. In control of what? Your emotions, your direction, and your identity. Prove that you're a strong person that doesn't need anybody else's help. And prove that you can hold on to the shitty experiences just to show how strong you are. And prove that you can be an inspirational being. As you can see, this goes very deep. Or maybe you try to control your emotions, or try to control your direction, or try to control the way you think, or be inspirational, or try to control what things or support are in your life or not. But once again, that's not for you to respond to, or it's not for you to control. It's here for you to respond to. What needs to leave your life and what needs to enter your life? Or Now the thing is that I saw someone in chat say, this is what you need to do in order to be successful. I mean, you are a successful being. You already make the millions. This is for you so that you can be happy and satisfied and not frustrated with life. And knowing that when you make decisions for yourself, that you're making correct decisions. This system here isn't going to bring people up to their millions. This system brings a person's own success, a person's own satisfaction. Because what one person finds satisfying isn't necessarily what another person finds satisfying. I'm not a humanitarian. I can't do humanitarian work. Kudos to those who can. I'm not a person who can stand up and be in a hospital as a job, or be in a teacher and teach young minds. Kudos to those who can. For real. I recognize those things about myself. So what can we see you do in your not self-expression as a combination? Well, once again, this is a split definition, so maybe you feel like this is happening to you. Maybe you feel like things are out of control, your directions and your inspirational ideas. Maybe you feel that the way that people confront you in life is uncontrollable, or the way that your support systems come in and out of your life. But at the same time, this is a split definition. So when you make a decision to commit to something, and it is a correct decision for you anyways. This is what you're going to feel like until you gain a little bit more time. Oh my God, how am I going to be able to commit to that? Because I don't know what direction I'm going to go in, and I don't know how I'm going to confront all the things that I'm going to be needing to think about, all the questions that need to be answered. And oh my God, am I going to be safe? It's so unsafe for me. Yeah. So that's kind of how you might react when you first commit to something, even if it is correct for you. Now, tedious work can be satisfying, and that is what's correct for you. Work that is frustrating is not for you. You're here to do what you love and love what you do. I'm not saying just because you don't like something, you're not here to do it. No. What I'm saying is that do what you have energy for and have energy for what you do. You have the capability of being super burnt out because you're going to bounce around like the Energizer Bunny trying to prove all of these things. And if you are acting your correct self, then you're going to lay your head on the pillow and fall asleep immediately, because you've used all of your energy and you're going to sleep it off and regenerate. Synthesize together, maybe you're a person who feels like you need to find your direction in life, not self. So you're going to gather all of these support systems that you feel are correct for you, so that you don't rock the boat, and who might make up some inspirational ideas, or you might try to feel like you need these inspirational ideas, or try to prove that you can answer everybody's questions, or prove that you got what it takes to, just be in control. It's not you. How do you avoid all of this? You just say and remembering that I actually want to mention these two channels again. These two channels here that make up your design, make up your definition. They're actually deaf channels. If somebody ever says to you, why don't you just listen? Or why isn't my kid just listening? Or, friends or colleagues, why don't you just listen? They're meant to be deaf. They're meant to not be manipulated by the other, because you're here to be mutative and structure things in your very unique way. Now, when you are saying and you're structuring things in your very unique way, mutating them, transforming them, and bringing them out into form, when you're saying waiting to respond to life, breaking up the conditioning as to what we're used to doing. I've been saying the whole time that when you do that, your purpose happens. So when you say your and follow that your your incarnation cross emerges. If your choice mechanism, your response mechanism says then, and you follow that, then your purpose is flowing through you. And then if you do the opposite of what your energy tells you to do, then you will see frustration. Let me repeat that again. So when you're saying your and you follow that, your true self begins to emerge. So every choice that you have to say or you allow your true self to emerge. Your profile is your behavioral costume in life. And your incarnation cross is your purpose in life. And those are the two things that emerge when you're acting your true self. Your purpose and your behavioral costume. Now, if you're born in the morning, your profile changes. If you're born in the afternoon, you're a 2-4. If you're born in the evening, you're a 2-4. I'm not going to comment a lot on this, but as a 2, you're a hermit. You are here a person who is to be a natural at something. A natural at what you respond to. You enjoy being away from the drama in life. You enjoy harmony. If you are a 4, then you are all about your network, your brotherhood, your sisterhood, your community. When somebody burns you, they're out. They got no chance to come back in. But the thing is that you're a hermit and you're like, oh my God, I know that my community is where I get my opportunities. Yes. So, your opportunities come from your network. Your network's going to call you out. It could be a good call out. It could be a bad call out. So all you got to do is be yourself, because at least you're happy and satisfied with what you're doing. Once again, I don't know if this is your actual profile. If you're born in the morning, then it'll be different. But I mean, a lot of us streamers, content creators, end up having the 2-4 or 4 something, because the network matters a lot. Your community matters. Your juicers matter. So I'm not even going to mention the Incarnation Cross again. All right, one more thing that I can mention before we shut this down is that you're a person who has these breakthroughs and insights, and this is what all of this is coming through, these breakthroughs and insights. And don't get down on yourself if you're not having your breakthroughs and insights. Remember, it's a pulse on, pulse off, and it's mostly off. So off, 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 on. And during those off stages, you might feel melancholy, and that's okay. There's nothing that you need to do about it except for be you. Respond uh-huh or uh-uh. That's all you need to do. Knowing that you're going to be making the correct decisions, so that when you come out of that melancholic stage, at least you're going to place a satisfaction knowing that you've made all the correct decisions. What are you going to say uh-huh to? Mutation. What are you going to say uh-huh to? Structuring or not. Maybe I don't want to structure that thing. Maybe you're going to say to uh-huh to being a hermit now, away from the drama. It's time for me to be called out and be with my network. It's time to stop being a hermit now. I'm frustrated. What needs to change? Well, I don't know. What are you going to do next? Uh-huh or uh-uh. What is your situation permit you to do? Nobody can tell you except for you what you need to do. But yes, this is your energetic blueprints. This is an xQc. Everybody's different. Nobody's like xQc, and nobody's like you or me. And once again, xQc, if you want your actual reading done, I don't believe that this is your exact makeup, so I would love to do your reading for you. There's a multitude of readings that we can do for a person, a year in advance, or partnership readings as in friendship or coworkers. We can do family readings or groups like 3 to 5 people. Or we can go back into your past and see how you were raised and see where some things could have been hiccuped. So the reason why I'm stopping now is because we don't have deep information for you. I would love to continue, but we can't. This experience was pretty long. And if you would like to have your own experience like xQc, you can get part 1 done for $50, or you can get part 2, all the experience, for $250. All right, lovies. That is our experience for the human design reading today.